When I first found out about this conference, I was reading through the agenda and I saw my name as a speaker on it, so that was kind of interesting, and then I realized that the email was from Al Stinson, and Al's at it again, so thank you very much for inviting me, Al, to speak. The second point I'd like to make about this presentation is that it's a fine line for me to walk here. I've got to make sure that the interests of my shareholders are protected. At the same time, I have to look forward to welcoming new investors and entrepreneurs into the forest industry. I just want to give in the overview, I'd like to talk about understanding the numbers, the volume of roundwood available, the volume of tops and branches available, the advantages of increased utilization, and challenges to moving forward, and some recommendations. Some quick facts about the Nipissing Forest, and you have to really realize where we're coming from in order just to understand the rest of my presentation. I think there's some important factors here. There are 90,000 people living within the Nipissing Forest. They're very concerned with the forest, and they take advantage of it on weekends. We probably have 9,000 or 10,000 people in the forest every weekend, whether they're cross-country skiing or hiking or ATVing or whatever, or fishing. And they're very concerned with how the forest is managed, and if they see something they don't like, I usually get a phone call on Monday mornings. The other thing that's important to recognize about the forest is that we have a large allowable cut, but really over the last 10 or 15 years we've only been able to utilize about 55% of it. And with the downturn in the economy right now, we're probably only going to be cutting around 200,000 meters this year. And there's just a quick map of the Nipissing Forest. Okay, so the Forest Management Plan identifies what areas are available for harvest on a sustainable basis. And within that Forest Management Plan, we identify the harvest volumes by species and products in FMP Table 18. In FMP 19, we project who's going to be utilizing those volumes that are available. The Forest Resource Inventory, as Joe mentioned, identifies tree species, ages, heights, and stocking levels. Volume tables are used to convert FRI information into volumes by species and products. And I think the thing here is that if anybody's used to FRI, it's probably at any given spot incorrect, but on the average it works out to be a fairly reasonable estimate of the volumes that are available. And when we're doing the Forest Management Plan and we're projecting these volumes, we always take a look at past utilization levels and yields. The Forest Management Plan is a balance of economic, social, and environmental considerations. Social considerations include parks and protected areas, old growth, protection for canoe routes, cross-country ski trails, etc. Environmental considerations include wildlife habitat requirements, protection of water quality. And the economic side of the equation is based on the industrial demand on the forest. The industrial demand is calculated or identified by species and products, and it's based upon M&R wood directives and supply agreements, recognized operating levels for the different mills, past open market purchases. Whoops. Go back. And one thing that happens is, like, if we're trying to get a sufficient amount of SPF sawlogs, for example, we might generate additional supply of surplus pulp. So there are surplus volumes available in the Forest Management Plan. They're identified as unutilized. Allocations on the Nipissing Forest are given to recognized licensees, the harvesters, and they're based on harvesting rights. For the Nipissing Forest and most other forests, 100% of the harvesting rights have been allocated on the forest. Each licensee that operates on the forest has an overlapping license agreement with the SFL, and these are 5-year agreements. The type of arrangements for SFLs varies across the province. Some are single entity SFLs, some are co-op type of SFLs like we have here on the Nipissing Forest. Harvesting rights can be bought and sold from existing licensees, and this has gone on over the last 10 or 15 years. Overlapping license agreements identify wood directives and what wood can be sold on an open market basis for the harvesters. So the question is, what volumes are available from the Nipissing Forest? Well, the FMP total annual volume available is 712,200 meters. However, we only identify as unutilized surplus volume 13,935 meters a year. We also identified that some wood has traditionally flown from the Nipissing Forest into Quebec, and these are basically small mills on the other side of the forest, and this wood really has to be offered first to Ontario facilities. So there's, in addition to the unutilized volume identified, there's also another 10,674 meters available. So when you take it the total potential annual volume, it's only 24,609 meters a year. So, why did the M&R announce that there was 309,100 meters available annually from the Nipissing Forest? That's a difference of 284,491 meters from the Forest Management Plan. So the difference is based upon the actual average level of utilization from the forest. So you have to ask yourself, what numbers should I use or consider as being available? And that really is the question. The reasons for the difference between the volumes available and actual utilization are our forests are very mixed, and you need to have markets for all of the species before you can operate in the stand. Many stands are of low quality and low volume and cannot be economically harvested. And currently there are insufficient markets for all of the low quality fiber. So to get back to the question, if you can find markets for all the species, find ways to economically harvest low volume stands, then all of the wood is available. When you're taking a look at tops and branches, the M&R identified in their initial estimates for the expressions of interest, 394,900 meters available annually from tops and branches. Tops and branches are currently being ground for hog fuel, and these are very initial yields, but we seem to be averaging about 20 cubic meters per hectare. So if I apply the 20 cubic meters per hectare onto the stands that are normally full tree harvested, that would work out to be about 72,000 meters a year. Again, there's a big difference between what was originally projected and what may be available. I just wanted to also point out that the volumes of tops and branches can be affected by a number of factors. The silvicultural system being implemented, whether it's the shelterwood and selection harvesting, there are restrictions on full tree logging within these stands, these types of stands, and advances in equipment design. Right now it's pretty awkward to pick up and utilize the tops and branches. Currently, unutilized tops and branches are required to be piled and burnt on the Nipissing Forest. The licensees would prefer not to have the expense of piling, and the SFL would prefer not the expense of the burning. This material, these tops and branches, are basically under the control of the licensee until the block has been closed in a compliance report. It's a Crown resource, and the Crown owns that material until stumpage is paid for it, but it's basically under the control of the licensee that does the harvesting. In order to utilize the tops and branches, an overlapping license agreement is also required with the SFL. Oops. And any overlapping license that the SFL would enter into for tops and branches, we would take a look at, we would identify what management fees we'd be expecting for this material. And we'd also be taking a look at what are the road responsibilities you would have for accessing the fiber. There are a number of advantages to increased utilization. Full utilization of the forest would almost double the current workforce in the bushing, probably create around an additional 150 new jobs. Increased harvest yields are expected to provide additional revenue for forest renewal, and in a sort of a balancing act, perhaps reduce renewal costs. Additional revenue for road construction and maintenance. Full utilization will assist in meeting FMP wildlife habitat objectives, assisting in meeting FMP restoration objectives, and hopefully improve the overall health of the forest. Increased utilization will also make more saw logs and veneer logs available for existing mills. Some of the challenges to moving forward, tenure reform, which is the current discussion going on these days, has created a little bit of uncertainty. I think the switch at M&R and the Ministry of Northern Development and Mines and Forestry is appearing right now to have created another level of bureaucracy. Access to capital. Do the banks need to see the wood being directed, or do they just need to know the wood is available? Oops. Yeah, there are some. We've had a number of expressions of interest on the Nipissing Forest. There's approximately 5 groups that have come forward and talked to me, and so far I've been trying to work and provide information to all 5. I'm not too sure which one I should be working with. I don't think it's even my decision on who is going to be successful at all. But if you come forward and talk to me, I'll give you all of the information I have, and then it's up to you to do what you want with it. There's 3 recommendations that I'd like to make. Basically, if you're interested in obtaining the biofiber, I'd recommend that you seek out business-to-business agreements with the existing licensees, the people that are doing the harvesting now in the forest. Work with existing facilities to complement wood utilization. Sometimes there's a high demand for SPF saw logs, but there's very little demand for SPF pulp. So if you can see where the market is and where there's opportunities to pick up fiber, then and work with the existing facilities, that would be a big help for everybody. And I'm not too sure what to expect from tenure reform and the M&R and MNDMF, but I'm hoping for the best. Oops. So just a quick picture of burning the slash, and we don't really like to see that. We rather see the wood ground and being utilized in the mill. Thank you.